"Please marry me," billionaire single mom begs a janitor. What he asked in return shocked the night she fell to her knees in the marble hallway of her own empire. The city outside glittered like it had no idea her heart was breaking. Rain streaked down the glass walls of the skyscraper, turning the lights into trembling stars, while inside, a billionaire single mother pressed her palms to the cold floor and begged a man the world barely noticed. She had built towers, crushed boardrooms, and survived scandals meant to destroy her, yet in that moment, stripped of power and pride, she whispered a plea that could change two broken lives forever. "Please marry me." The words were not romantic, not dramatic, but desperate, heavy with fear and hope tangled together like wires sparking in the dark. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in stories where the least expected hearts save each other, take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel so these stories keep reaching the people who need them most. Her name was Elena Hartman, a name that dominated financial headlines and charity galas, a name that once belonged to a fearless woman who believed control was the same thing as safety. She was a self-made billionaire, a single mom who had clawed her way to the top after losing her husband in a plane crash that turned her life into a before and after. The world admired her resilience, her elegance, the way she balanced motherhood with power, but no one saw the nights she slept sitting up on the floor of her daughter's room, afraid to close her eyes in case grief stole something else from her. No one saw the fear that crept in when lawyers circled her estate like vultures, threatening to tear her family apart because of a clause hidden in a will written by a man who never imagined dying so young. According to that cruel document, her late husband's controlling family could challenge her guardianship and claim her daughter unless Elena remarried within a year, proving stability in the eyes of people who had never cared about love. She had tried everything else first. She attended elite dinners and endured polite smiles from powerful men who saw her as a trophy or a merger, not a mother terrified of losing her child. Each meeting left her colder, more alone, until she stopped looking altogether. Time slipped through her fingers like sand, the deadline approaching with the quiet certainty of a guillotine. That was when she started noticing the janitor who worked nights in her building, the man who cleaned the floors long after executives went home, who fixed broken lights without being asked, who always left a small folded paper crane on her daughter's desk when he finished cleaning the office they sometimes slept in during late nights. His name was Daniel Reyes, and he wore exhaustion like a second uniform. He had once been something else, a man with dreams and skills that never fit neatly into resumes after a series of losses knocked him down. His wife had died from an illness that emptied their savings and their home, leaving him with debt, grief, and a quiet promise to raise their son into someone kinder than the world had been to them. When his boy passed away in a sudden accident years later, Daniel's life narrowed to survival. He took the janitor job because it required no explanations, no smiles, no past. He worked silently, invisibly. And in that invisibility, he learned to observe people as they really were, when they thought no one was watching. Daniel saw Elena not as a billionaire, but as a mother who flinched at every phone call, who carried a framed photo of her daughter everywhere, who whispered reassurances to an empty hallway when she thought the building was asleep. He never asked questions. He simply did small things, fixing, cleaning, leaving those paper cranes he learned to fold with his son during hospital nights. He did not know why he felt drawn to help her, only that helping felt like the last way he could still be a good man. When Elena finally broke, it was after a letter arrived announcing a formal challenge to her guardianship. She walked through the building long past midnight, her heels echoing like accusations, until she found Daniel polishing the marble floor. The words spilled out of her without ceremony, the truth raw and humiliating. She told him everything, the will, the threat, the deadline, the terror of losing her child to people who treated love like leverage. She did not ask him to pretend or perform. She begged because she had nothing left but honesty. Daniel listened, his hands still, the hum of the building filling the silence. He understood desperation. He understood loving someone so much it hollowed you out. When he finally responded, his request shocked her, not because it was greedy, but because it was impossibly human. He did not ask for money, status, or a contract protecting him. He asked for one thing in return, that she see him. Not as a solution, not as a sacrifice, but as a man whose pain mattered too. He asked that their marriage, even if born from necessity, be built on truth, respect, and a promise to never use each other as tools again. Elena had expected conditions she could negotiate. What she received was a mirror. In that moment, she realized how often she had reduced people to roles, problems to solve, outcomes to manage. She saw the janitor's quiet dignity, the grief etched into his posture, the kindness that had cost him nothing but still meant everything. She said yes, not because it was easy, but because it was right. The days that followed were a blur of legal preparations and whispered rumors. The media exploded when the news broke, mocking headlines questioning her sanity, analysts speculating about scandal. Elena stood firm, holding her daughter's hand, feeling something new grow inside her chest that was not fear but resolve. Daniel moved into a world that did not want him, facing sneers from executives who suddenly had to look him in the eye. He remained the same, steady, present, learning to navigate wealth without losing himself. Their marriage was simple, almost invisible compared to Elena's previous life. No grand speeches, no fairy tale promises. Just two broken people standing side by side, choosing to protect a child and, unexpectedly, each other. Over time, something softened between them. Elena learned to rest, to let someone else shoulder the weight. Daniel learned to speak about his past, to grieve out loud without shame. Elena's daughter, once withdrawn and anxious, began to laugh again, finding comfort in Daniel's gentle patience and paper cranes that now filled her room like a sky of folded hope. The legal challenge crumbled under scrutiny, the will's cruelty exposed, the family's motives revealed. Elena won, not because of power, but because truth finally stood in the open. When the crisis passed, she expected Daniel to leave, to return to the shadows he came from. She was ready to thank him, to set him free with resources and apologies. Instead, he stayed, not out of obligation, but because staying felt like healing. Months later, Elena looked at her life and barely recognized it. The empire still stood, but it no longer defined her. Home was quieter, warmer, built on routines and shared meals instead of meetings. She learned that love did not arrive with fireworks but with consistency, with someone who cleaned the mess without being asked, who showed up even when there was nothing to gain. Just before this story reaches its ending, we ask you for something special. Please comment below with the word hope if you believe that love can grow in the most unexpected places and that dignity matters more than status. As this story touched its final note, Elena understood that begging on that marble floor had not been her weakest moment, but her bravest. It had stripped away the illusion of control and replaced it with connection. Daniel understood that asking to be seen had saved him from disappearing forever. Together, they had rewritten a story the world tried to dictate, proving that kindness could outshine wealth and humility could rebuild what power had broken. If this story moved you, if it made your chest tighten or your eyes burn, please like this video, share it, and leave a heartfelt comment. Your engagement keeps these stories alive and reminds us all that even in a world obsessed with status, the quiet acts of humanity still matter most.